My first contact with the Rhumart Auto-Health system came through this man, Michel Carew. He's a Canadian athlete. He's an ultra-distance runner. He was at Gateshead International Stadium and he was taking part in a 6-day race. I was the race director, and in that race Michel broke 24 Canadian records. I was impressed. Every day, however, I noticed that Michel set aside 10 minutes where he went into the medical room, not for medication, but to give himself Rhumart conditioning using his equipment. He said it was helping him towards total fitness. But it's not just for fit people like himself. He told me that in Canada, a number of people were benefiting from the effects of Rhumart, people who were suffering from a wide variety of ailments. So impressed was I when I heard about the system that I wanted to find out more. And so I went to Canada and I met the inventor, Dr. Roland Drolet. Dr. Drolet told me the basis of his equipment, his system, was an electromagnetic field generator which produced 3 physiological effects. Firstly, it improved the blood circulation. Secondly, it was a relaxant for the nervous system, and in doing so produced anti-inflammatory and pain-killing effects. And thirdly, the system improved cell regeneration and repair. Rhumart helps to strengthen that immune system, and that's why it's so successful against such things as allergies, as this lady has found.
I've had a great lot of difficulty with allergies from the time I was yay high. I was, I think, allergic to milk, but back in those days you were supposed to have a glass of milk every morning before you went to school, and I would hold my nose, drink the milk. I lived on a farm over a slop pail, and half the time I wouldn't hold the milk down. And all my life it was one allergy after another. And later on I taught school for many years and worked with in the field of special education, and did a lot of spray painting and varnishing and woodworking, and ended up with asthma. I've had asthma for over 17 years, and I've really been on a search the whole time, because doctors will tell you point blank that once you've got asthma, especially as an adult, that's it. Just carry on with what we give you for medication. And one of the, I've a lot of allergies to medication as well. And I guess I dug my heels in and said, there's got to be another way. And I've been looking for something else. And Phil came along. I was in a booth in the Aldergrove Mall doing a display, and Phil happened to come along with these 2 rings over his shoulder. And so I asked what this was all about, and so he said, "Oh, this is a marvelous machine, and it does all sorts of things." So the antenna immediately came up, and that was on a Saturday. And Monday morning, I was in Phil's office. I want to know more about that machine. And so he said, well, the best way to find out is to just sit down and I'll show you how it works. And so I did. I had my first exercise. And I came out of there thinking, well, you know, I didn't really feel a thing, and but if at least it wasn't medication. And so we tried again. But after I was out of the office, one of the first things, I went for asthma, and as soon as I'd yawn, and then I realized that I was using an area of the lungs that I hadn't used in quite some time, and then I told him there's something wrong with my throat, and every time I got the machine got going, I would get this raspy throat, and that's changing though in the time that I've been taking these, been having the treatments. And the first thing I noticed was about an hour after, the amount I just felt so. I had such a sense of well-being It was about the best way I could describe it. And I thought, oh, I haven't felt this way in years. I can't remember when I felt this way. And then a little while later, I had a thumb that had been aching since Christmas. And all of a sudden, it just, another treatment, and I realized that thumb wasn't aching, and I could move it all around. And I thought, oh, that's a plus. And then I'd been rear-ended in front of the school by a drunk driver when my son was in grade 2. And I didn't realize that I was turning my whole body in order to, look out the rear view mirror. And all of a sudden I found that I was looking and moving. I had mobility in my neck. I could move it every direction. And I'd had cortisone shots in it and so on. And the other thing, that prednisone was a medication that I finally refused. I wouldn't let them give me any more of it. And a lot of things, it's dynamite on the system. And I ended up with my skin would. I had an injury on my leg, and the doctor had a great deal of difficulty stitching it. And he said, I said, how can we help this? I don't want skin like this. He said, well, there's really not too much we can do about it. It's just age. And I thought, well, I don't agree with that. And so I've always been on the lookout for alternate ways to go. And let me tell you, if you've got a problem of any sort medically, I can't say enough about this machine, because I've got mobility in my entire body. I feel as though after exercising or a few minutes on that machine, and I feel as though I've had 2 hours of exercise, and I'm finding I can breathe much more deeply. I'm cutting my medication back. I use the rotocaps, and I forget to take my medication, and that's a beautiful indication. This is a particularly bad time of year for me. I have a seasonal asthma, and with a lot of the pollens and so on. And normally I would be on antibiotics, and so far I haven't had to go on antibiotics, and I can't say enough about it. Like, it's the side benefits are unreal. I know asthma's going to go, and I feel tremendous.